Imagine a king so powerful, so mighty, that his deeds were carved into clay tablets over 4,000 years ago. A man born part god, part mortal, whose story would become the first great epic of humanity. This is the tale of Gilgamesh, ruler of the ancient city of Uruk, whose quest wasn't for conquest, but for something far more elusive: immortality. But what he found instead would redefine what it means to be human, and echo across the millennia. In the Fertile Crescent of Mesopotamia, between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, the cradle of civilization, stood the city of Uruk, one of the first true urban centers in human history. Its walls stretched for miles, a marvel of early engineering and a testament to the ambition of its ruler. Within those walls, society flourished. Agriculture, trade, temple rituals, and monumental architecture thrived under the watchful eye of its divine king. At its heart ruled Gilgamesh, a king like no other. According to Sumerian legend, he was 2/3 divine and 1/3 human, a man of impossible strength and unmatched beauty. His very presence commanded awe and fear. He could lift mountains, outrun wild beasts, and defeat any warrior in battle. But he was also prideful, domineering, and detached from the suffering of his people. Gilgamesh's tyranny grew unbearable. He imposed harsh labor, took what he wanted, and claimed divine authority to justify his excesses. The people of Uruk cried out to the heavens. In response, the gods fashioned Enkidu, a wild man, untamed and pure, a mirror and a challenger to Gilgamesh's dominance. Raised among animals, Enkidu was civilized through an encounter with a priestess, who introduced him to human customs and consciousness. When the two men finally met, they clashed in a battle that shook Uruk's foundations, but the fight didn't end in death. It ended in friendship, and that friendship would become the first transformative moment in Gilgamesh's life. United by a thirst for meaning and greatness, Gilgamesh and Enkidu set out on legendary adventures. Their first challenge, to conquer the cedar forest, a sacred realm protected by the monstrous guardian Humbaba, servant of the gods. The mission was dangerous, possibly suicidal, but the thrill of glory outweighed the risk. With divine weapons and unwavering courage, they defeated Humbaba after a ferocious battle. Yet in doing so, they angered the gods. Killing a divine creature disturbed the cosmic order. Their fame grew, but so did the shadow over their destiny. Soon after, the goddess Ishtar approached Gilgamesh with an offer of love and divine partnership. But Gilgamesh, ever skeptical, rejected her, mocking her past betrayals and lovers. Enraged, Ishtar unleashed the Bull of Heaven, a cosmic beast of destruction. Once again, Gilgamesh and Enkidu triumphed, slaying the bull and saving Uruk. But the gods would not tolerate such defiance. As punishment, they decreed that Enkidu must die. Enkidu's illness was slow and torturous. He cursed the gods, the forest, the priestess who had awakened him. Gilgamesh, once a proud and unshakable king, was reduced to tears. He watched helplessly as his best friend, his equal, his human anchor, died. Enkidu's death shattered Gilgamesh. For the first time, he felt the sting of mortality. The king who had feared nothing began to fear everything. So, he abandoned his palace, his crown, and his city. He ventured into the unknown, dressed in animal skins, eating roots and weeping at the stars. He searched not for riches, but for eternal life. He crossed mountains guarded by scorpion men, journeyed through pitch-black tunnels, and wandered through lands beyond the mortal realm. Each step brought him closer to Utnapishtim, the immortal survivor of the Great Flood. Utnapishtim lived at the edge of the world, where the rivers ended and death lost its grip. When Gilgamesh found him, he poured out his heart, confessing his grief, his fear, his desire to escape the fate that claimed Enkidu and would one day claim him. Utnapishtim offered a test: remain awake for 7 nights. If Gilgamesh could resist the temptation of sleep, the cousin of death, he might prove himself worthy. But Gilgamesh, weary from his travels, fell asleep almost instantly. He failed. Still, Utnapishtim offered a final chance. At the bottom of the sea grew a plant of rejuvenation, a thorny herb said to restore youth. Gilgamesh dove into the deep, braving the currents, and brought the plant to the surface. His hope soared. Finally, he had the answer. But fate intervened. As he rested, a serpent crept near, drawn by the plant's scent. It devoured the herb, slithered away, and shed its skin in renewal, forever claiming the gift that Gilgamesh had sought. The symbol of rebirth was not for man, but for nature. Empty-handed, Gilgamesh returned to Uruk. But, he was no longer broken. He had not found immortality, but he had found wisdom. He looked upon the walls he had once built in arrogance and saw them now as monuments to legacy. He realized that it was not eternity in the flesh that mattered, but eternity in memory, in story, in what one leaves behind. The Epic of Gilgamesh is more than just the earliest recorded story. It's a mirror reflecting our deepest fears and highest hopes. Composed around 2100 BCE, it asks questions we still wrestle with today. What is the value of life? Why do we age? Can we leave a mark that outlasts our bodies? Gilgamesh's journey is an allegory of self-discovery. Modern thinkers like Carl Jung have interpreted the epic as a psychological voyage, a symbolic maturation from ego-driven heroism to soulful wisdom. It's also the story of grief, how losing someone can shatter us, and how that shattering can lead to awakening. Gilgamesh's transformation is not a fall from power, but a rise to consciousness. Though born in a distant age, his story remains relevant. Every time we ponder our purpose, mourn a loved one, or dream of legacy, we echo the questions that haunted Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh may have been a real ruler who reigned around 2700 BCE. His name appears in the Sumerian king list, and ruins of Uruk suggest a city worthy of his legend. Whether mythologized or not, his tale bridges the gap between history and mythology, between man and God. His epic still shapes our stories, from Homer to Tolkien, from ancient tablets to Hollywood scripts. Gilgamesh is the archetype of the seeker, the flawed hero who dares to ask the ultimate question. How do we live, knowing we must die? The answer is not in avoiding death, but in creating something that lasts. Join us in unearthing the past. If you've come this far, you are more than just a viewer. You are a time traveler, a seeker of lost wisdom, a student of forgotten truths. Only 1% of our viewers subscribe. So, if this journey meant something to you, hit that button, ring the bell, and join us at 5 Minutes of Culture. Because the past is never truly past. It lives on in those who remember. And maybe, just maybe, one day someone will tell your story too.